Uh, welcome back. What?
No, we're not starting the video with and then a 3 second pause.
Yo, what's up, YouTube family? This is Salty Sauce
What is
coming back
up?
at you. Sean and Joseph with another hot take. Salty Sauce episode number 6, hot take number 2. We have some things that happened both 2 weeks ago and last week. Some big major news coming out of Comic-Con, and then as well just a press release out of the blue, it seemed like. I don't know what brought that on, really.
Yeah, so it's not so much a hot take as it is a tepid take or a lukewarm take.
Yeah, we're a few days late here and a few weeks late on the other news. But let's not waste any time and let's go straight into it. First thing we need to talk about, Sean, is the news out of Comic-Con that hashtag Clone Wars saved. Tell me about that. What happened?
A surprise, to be sure, but a welcome one.
That is right. Dave Filoni and crew have announced that a 7th and final season of the Clone Wars will be coming to the new Disney streaming service, which is supposed to launch sometime next year in 2019.
Gosh, I don't know how fast they can get my money because all the things they're releasing seem to be going straight to that streaming service.
I'm just a big Disney fan anyway, so all the Disney properties, all the Marvel properties, all the Star Wars properties are all going to be on the streaming service. I'm like, who's not going to buy this?
I know.
Right? Like, everybody is going to have a subscription to this. So, I mean, I would say 75% of the things we watch on Netflix are Disney properties anyway right now
Right.
with the kids. So I'm definitely excited for it. But yeah, so I mean, for those of you who watched the Clone Wars animated series back when it was on, it ran 6 seasons. They planned a 7th season, and they had the story arcs already, and you can even go on StarWars.com and see some of the, I don't know what you call it, unrendered scenes that they hadn't quite polished up yet, but that they had the storyboards for. And in the middle of that production, it got canceled, that 7th season. So there were a lot of things that fans of the Clone Wars animated series have anticipated could come back if they were ever to revisit that. And so if you watch the trailer for the Clone Wars that they showed at Comic-Con, there are some scenes and some sequences in that trailer that actually mirror some of those storyboards from the canceled season. And so a lot of people are excited about that. I personally am excited about it. I've watched all of that series, and it's on Netflix if you want to catch up. And so I think they announced that it's going to be 10 episodes or something, so not too long, but just enough, I think, to kind of give closure to that series that didn't get the closure it needed back in, I don't know when it ended, 2000 something.
Yeah, it's exciting too because I feel like a lot of the standalone films that we've been talking about and discussing that they've released are in that time frame. Han Solo, it's a little bit kind of around there, but also Rogue One. I wonder what characters are going to have cameos now that they can kind of put into this Clone Wars final season. And my big one would be like Admiral Raddus.
This is Admiral Raddus of the Rebel Alliance.
Or like one of those kind of rebellion heroes that is kind of just in Rogue One, but has this, just fandom kind of. Well, I mean, at least I do. I love Admiral Raddus and Blue Leader. He seems really cool. I would like to know more about him. So anyway, I feel like there's a lot more kind of stuff they can do. I don't know if they're going to hold themselves to the things they've released already. I hope they don't, because I'd like to be surprised at what stories they can tell.
Yeah, well, keep in mind too that this is still before Revenge of the Sith. This season that will happen.
That's true. Okay, so I need to back up
just
a little bit. Yeah.
You could Raddus and you could see Leader. Those would be about I would think the youngest characters in Rogue One that you would see, who are kind of older in Rogue One if you saw a crossover cameo. But like Jyn and Cassian, I don't think that you'll see them because they would be, if not unborn. They would be very small children at the time of the Clone Wars 7th season.
Okay,
But
then what about like Orson Krennic or Galen Erso?
yeah, you definitely could see either of them. That would be interesting.
Remind me, is the Death Star talked about in the Clone Wars series? Do they talk about the construction of the Death Star? And because I know in the movie, the only thing you see is like the little hologram thing, and then in Episode 3, it ends on the Death Star, right?
Right. And I don't remember. I know that Tarkin is in a couple of episodes of the Clone Wars animated series. He works with some clone troopers, but that was back. See, all of the Clone Wars happens before Episode 3, so it's back when it's still the Republic and the clone troopers are the good guys fighting for the Republic, and so Tarkin's a Republic officer and things like that. So I don't remember if they talk about the Death Star at all in the Clone Wars animated series. I don't remember, but yeah, I think there's a lot of potential. The one last thing I wanted to say about it was back in the canceled season, they had plans to bring back Darth Revan into the canon, which is a kind of a fan favorite character from the Legends material, from the Knights of the Old Republic video game, a Sith Lord from the Old Republic, and he was going to make his return into the canon by being mentioned, I think, in some sort of Sith holocron kind of hologram. He was going to show up and kind of recanonize him into Star Wars saga, but I don't know if they'll do that again, but I think they have some potential to do some fun kind of fan servicey things with this new season. So I'm excited about it.
That'd be sweet, yeah. Well, cool. Okay, now I think we're both excited for that. Now, the main point of this topic, of this video, I should say, is the cast announcement that was made last week. Holy cow. What a shock that just like hit the internet, right? First of all, we have let's talk about some notable returns, right? Some give-ins: Daisy, Adam Driver, John Boyega, what's Poe's name?
Oscar Isaac.
Is it
Isaac or Isaacs? Yeah, Oscar Isaac.
And then we have Mark Hamill, so he's a confirmed one. The guy who plays Chewbacca, what's his name? I'm not even going to try.
Jonas something.
And Carrie Fisher. And Billy D. Williams. Sorry, that's the other. I mean, those three big names right there. The big surprise, of course, is the Carrie Fisher. No one saw this coming. Did anyone have this on their radar?
Yeah, when she passed away, the big talk was, maybe they'll make her a CG character like they did with Tarkin in Rogue One with Peter Cushing. They could do that with Carrie Fisher, and she could still be in the movie, but just kind of this CG animated character. Plus, Leia, she is already a CG character in Rogue One, the young version of Princess Leia.
What is it they've sent us?
Hope.
So they kind of already have done that work with her. But quickly, I feel like after her passing, I felt like Lucasfilm squashed that rumor that they weren't going to do that. So everybody has been operating under the assumption that they're just going to have an on-screen explanation of why she isn't there. She died in the time that's passed between the movies or something like that. So that was the most surprising thing for me from this announcement, was not only that they have unused footage of her, but it's footage that JJ shot during Force Awakens, and now he is directing this movie, so it's kind of, he already filmed, I don't know, it just kind of is interesting. It's not footage from The Last Jedi, it's footage from The Force Awakens that JJ shot with Carrie that he is now going to use in Episode 9.
And honestly, it is so, I've been trying to understand what they could possibly, like, what did they shoot? I know there's supposedly some rumor that there was kind of more politics, and Princess or General Organa sends one of her pupils off to the Hosnian system. There's got kind of a scene there. And then there's that scene from the trailer where Maz hands her the lightsaber, but we didn't never see that in the movie. But, like, she's in like this. I mean, are they going to change her clothing somehow? Like, I just don't quite understand what they could have shot in Force Awakens that could still fit into a story post The Last Jedi. You know?
So it leads me to two questions. One, I'm not familiar with any deleted scenes on the Force Awakens DVD or Blu-ray. So if she's in any of those deleted scenes, are those off the table, or would he use deleted scenes that we've already seen to put into this episode 9? I don't know. So that's a question I have because I haven't seen the deleted scenes from the movie. The second thing is this question of what could they possibly put into episode 9 from Force Awakens, from this kind of additional footage they have. My first impression is that what they put into episode 9 from Force Awakens is not going to be significant to this plot or the story. I predict it will be more of some sort of flashback montage or flashback memory of when Rey or one of the main characters is in a emotional situation. They remember back to something Leia told them, and it's a flashback to her talking with them. I don't know, something like that. And I could be completely wrong, but I would be shocked if somehow they have footage that would mesh with what episode's 9 plot is going to be, and it be significant in advancing the plot. I just don't see that happening. But if it did, I mean, that's cool. I'm just glad that she's in it, because I didn't think she would be. So I feel like anything is going to be appreciated by the fans, anything that they do with footage with her. And JJ said in the press release himself that a satisfying conclusion to the Star Wars saga with Carrie has eluded us. Like, we can't do it because she's not here. And I don't think this announcement is supposed to say we're going to get the ending to Leia's arc that was intended. Like, we can't do that at this point. But I think this is just going to be kind of a nod to her and to the character and to the fans that we're going to have her presence in this movie, however small.
Right. That's a good point. And I like also how JJ said that they tried other options and they thought about other options that they could do, but none of them served her, Carrie Fisher he's talking about, not Leia. None of them served Carrie Fisher well. Like a recast, or, CG was off the table pretty early, or just like writing her off in the opening crawl or kind of the off screen that you said. None of those really served her, Carrie Fisher. So I'm still thinking, though, she was only on, in Force Awakens, Takodana for a scene where she meets Han, and Dakar, which was just blown up in Last Jedi. So it leads me to kind of agree with you. It's probably going to be some sort of, I bet you it's going to be Rey and Leia. I bet you they have more shots of those two women together. And honestly, that's what I would want, because that's the storyline that I feel like still hasn't fully developed yet.
I'm wondering, too, if it could be something like Kylo Ren even having a flashback of something his mother said to him. And even if you don't get visual footage, you just hear Carrie's voice.
Oh, yeah.
Like a voiceover of, like, his inner conscience is her voice or something like that. Like, there are, I think, a few ways that they can incorporate her without needing to have, like, a scene filmed that works with other characters in it. But I just don't see how it's going to be that significant to the plot. Although I am excited for it, I'm glad they're going to do something.
Yeah, I agree. I am very excited that they're doing it, because it kind of gives us something to kind of speculate on, already 18 months out. Okay, so that brings up a great kind of point that Mark Hamill was also announced as a returning character for Episode 9, which I thought was going to be kind of a closely held secret that Lucasfilm wasn't going to show us until a reveal in the movie. I still thought it was a given that he was going to be there, considering A, Mark Hamill is still alive, and B, it kind of sets it up that see around kid in Last Jedi.
See you around, kid.
But the fact they just told us, I was kind of shocked. I was kind of taken back that they would do that. And honestly, I think it's Lucasfilm playing a PR game of trying to get some positivity, including the Clone Wars the week before, kind of getting some positive spin going back into our Lucasfilm tires, giving us like, okay, we're still on track. We're still going to give you good stuff. We're sorry about a few mistakes we've made. And not that they made a lot of mistakes, but fans certainly told them about it.
Well, I think, yeah, regardless of where you sit on the Last Jedi fence, I think any fan objectively can see that a lot of people who didn't like The Last Jedi, most of them cite that they didn't like what happened with Luke Skywalker.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about this in another video, but even Mark himself, after The Last Jedi, quotes he made and comments he made about his own kind of disagreement with how the character was taken and stuff, fans latched onto that like, yeah, even Mark hates it, and Mark kind of had to backtrack and say that he supported Ryan and Ryan's vision and all that kind of stuff. But there was just it wasn't too long ago, it was just a couple of months ago that Mark again was quoted, and he was kind of dismissive about the idea of being in Episode 9, where he kind of made the comment, he was talking about Carrie Fisher, but he made the comment about how on a certain level he didn't even really care anymore, that Han wasn't there, Luke's now gone, obviously Carrie is gone, so he talked about how you couldn't really get the band back together. And I agree with you 100%. It seems like a lot of the talk about the future of Star Wars had been negative lately, and with the Clone Wars thing getting announced, which I think just a small pocket of the fandom, the fan base, even know about that or care about that.
Sure.
Kind of the hardcore fans. So that got them excited. But then the announcement of Episode 9, I think, kind of gets people excited. Like, oh, yeah, Episode 9. One of the things that excited me about the announcement was they said filming starts August 1st. I'm like, that's in 2 days. So it kind of got me excited thinking about, wow, the script is already written. Like, they know what the story is going to be. Like, we're on the journey. Like, it's happening.
They could be filming. They could be filming the final scene of the movie tomorrow or in 2 days.
And it's all heightened because it's not just this movie. They've said specifically in the statement, it's the end of the Skywalker saga.
Okay, pause before you continue. Does that include Kylo Ren?
Of course, yeah. What do you mean? Does it include Kylo Ren?
So does that mean he dies? I'm sorry, that's what I'm going for. Does he meet his ultimate demise in Episode 9? Or am I reading too far into that?
I don't think that he has to die in Episode 9 to be the end of the Skywalker saga. In a sense, you could say that Return of the Jedi could have ended the Skywalker saga, and you could have just thought that was the end of Luke's story. Like, he redeemed his father, and now he can live happily ever after. Like, you don't have to see the entire life cycle of every character to get closure for the story.
Okay, but I will say, by saying it's the end of the Skywalker saga, I feel like they're showing too much of their hand in that we're not going to see a redemption of Kylo Ren. Right? Is that a fair assumption?
Yeah, I don't know.
If he redeemed himself, gosh, I mean, there'd still be a Skywalker saga to tell, right?
One of the things I wish I would have seen more in Last Jedi was Luke's role in redeeming Kylo Ren, but Last Jedi kind of made it feel like Luke thought that was a lost cause, that he's not going to redeem Kylo Ren, and that's not his job to do that.
I agree with that, but continue, sorry.
But he says to Kylo Ren in The Last Jedi that, if you strike me down, I'll always be with you, or I forget the exact quote, but so then it does kind of seem like in Episode 9, I'm like, if Luke comes back, obviously he's going to be a Force ghost. Is he going to be like visiting, aka haunting Kylo Ren? or is he going to be training Rey? I think it's going to be much more interesting if he's interacting with Kylo.
Yes, and I think that's what is being set up in 8. At least I hope so.
Yeah. And so that is going to be very interesting to me. I'm excited to see that Luke and Kylo interacting, possibly Kylo Ren not wanting Luke's visitations, but Luke kind of badgering him.
Leave me alone.
Yeah. And because I kind of feel like the Luke-Rey relationship has played out. What needs to have happened in that relationship has happened. And I think more with this end of the Skywalker saga, we need to have some resolution with the actual Skywalker relationships.
I like that. That's a good point.
Yeah, but I do think, back to the original question, I do think that the Clone Wars announcement, this announcement, has kind of given some energy to the fan base and helped people get a little more excited about, okay, the future is exciting with Star Wars. Like, it's not all doom and gloom. The franchise isn't falling apart. Like, we're going to get exciting stuff. And, it's funny because all this stuff that gets announced, I'm like, what kind of get lost in the shuffle is Lando, that Lando's coming back. I'm like, is anyone excited about that? Appropriately, we're excited about Princess Leia and Carrie Fisher. Appropriately, we're excited about Luke Skywalker, but I think it's a big deal that Billy D. Williams is coming back.
It is a big deal. And you're right, it kind of gets lost in the first 2, and then you're like, oh, that's right, Billy D's in there. But I think there was already kind of rumors going around that he was going to be in it, so it was less of a surprise.
That's true. It was already rumored and then semi-confirmed, but there had not been an official Lucasfilm statement, but now there obviously has been. When the rumors first came out, I told you I was seeing a lot of funny things on the internet about people telling Billy D. Williams not to accept the role, to run as far away as he can because they're probably going to kill Lando in this movie.
This deal is getting worse all the time.
Because it is funny that all the legacy characters are dying in these movies. Which brings up to me one question I have for you.
Oh, sure.
Before Force Awakens ever happened, and you heard that they were making the Star Wars sequel trilogy and that they were bringing back the original characters, the big 3, did you expect that by the end of Episode 9, all 3 of those characters would be dead?
Yes.
Interesting. I did not. In fact, when we were going to Last Jedi, we were speculating, and I asked you who you thought would die in this movie, because I thought Leia was going to die in the movie. And you said that you thought Luke was going to die, and that was such a foreign thought in my head. I thought, what are you talking about?
Really?
That is the stupidest prediction I've ever heard in my life.
This is not going to go the way you think.
And then it happened, and I was like, did you read that on the internet? Did you spoil that for me?
Nope.
But I just didn't think. I guess in my mind I thought when Han died, I understood because I remember Harrison wanted the character to die. I thought that was just why that happened.
Instead of fan service, it was Harrison Ford service. Okay, we'll kill him for you.
Right. But and then Carrie Fisher, obviously that wasn't planned. But then to also kill Luke, I just was so surprised by it. I thought I wasn't excited to see the original legacy characters in this trilogy. I wasn't excited for the trilogy to see them all die. So now that Lando's coming back, it's almost like, okay, Lando's coming back, but all the characters are these old people. They're dying. Like, okay, hopefully he survives.
I hope that we get a reunion of him and Pancake Face.
Yeah.
That's what I would like to see on screen. And maybe, now there's ability for there to be callbacks to him in L3. That'd be interesting. Because L3, I would assume, is still on the Millennium Falcon.
That's true.
Anyway.
And I do think I was seeing this thing about how fans wanted at the end of episode 9 for Lando to get the Falcon back. And then I heard this other vocal part of the fan base reject that and say, why should Lando get the Falcon? Chewbacca should get the Falcon. But everybody agreed, as long as Rey doesn't get the Falcon, Rey does not deserve the Falcon. He has not earned the Millennium Falcon. So
I wouldn't be upset if she got it, but we'll save that for another Salty Socks episode. How about, does Rey deserve the Millennium Falcon? Okay, I wanted to say a few more things about this cast announcement before we wrap up. Notable people also on there. Kelly Marie Tran is coming back, which I am very excited about. I like her as a person. I am excited to see what dynamics there will be between her and Finn. Is there going to be some... I don't think it's really a love triangle, because I feel like Rey and Finn are friend-zoned, but I kind of think there's a Rey and Poe thing going.
yeah.
And I'd be totally fine also if there was no love between Rey and anyone. Gwendolyn Christie is not on the list, so I don't think we'll be seeing her return. Andy Serkis was also not on the list. Hayden Christensen was also not on the list.
Oh my gosh.
Oh boy!
Now, but you thought Mark Hamill would be a tight secret. That would be something that they would keep under wraps.
Yes,
if Hayden
yes.
Christensen came back and came back as an Anakin Force ghost, they would.
Yes.
That would be Yoda in Last Jedi.
Totally
They would
agree.
not tell anyone, even though people saw Frank Oz go to Pinewood Studios and he was at the premiere. They never announced that Yoda was in Last Jedi. They would never announce that Hayden Christensen was going to be in Episode 9. Although J.J. Abrams has said that this movie, his goal is to tie all 8 movies into this movie. So I am not just expecting, but excited to see what Clone Wars prequel trilogy connections there will be in this movie.
There's got to be at least Anakin or Obi-Wan. I feel like it has to be.
But if you get too much with the Force Ghost and there's just a Force Ghost party happening, like what is happening?
I agree. I understand. Sometimes I get caught up in my own, like, what do I want? But then I have to take a step back and think about, okay, that's not really going to work.
Unless they have like a Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire scene in the graveyard with Voldemort when their wands are connected and the ghosts are coming out. And at the end, with Kylo Ren's redemption, you have Luke, Force Ghost, and Anakin, Force Ghost, and Han Solo, Force Ghost. Oh, he's not Force. He can't be a Force Ghost?
Well, I mean, could they do Leia? Maybe that would
Leia?
be...
Leia, Force Ghost. Mace Windu, Force Ghost.
Qui-Gon.
Qui-Gon, Force Ghost.
Fisto. Oh, yeah, here we go.
Kiadi Mundi, Force Ghost. Plo
That
Koon.
guy, Plo Koon, let me just tell you, that poor guy, he has the worst death of all the Jedi, I feel like.
Yeah, so I would be excited if Hayden was in it, but we'll see. We'll see. There's a lot of things that could happen.
Do you think Hayden will be in it?
I don't know. I am on the fence, which is probably more than I would have thought. I'm like 50-50, which is kind of ridiculous anyway. I probably should be like, there's a 2% chance he'll be in it.
I am 80% sure he's going to be in it.
See, people thought he was in Last Jedi because he went to Celebration the year before Jedi came out, and he wasn't. But there's a chance.
Well,
the other thing about the casting, Lupita Nyong'o, so Maz Kanata is in it again, and I hope we get more of Maz.
Yes.
And not some weird hologram message, but actually, like, she was so interesting in The Force Awakens and her relationship with Rey and kind of mentoring Rey a little bit.
And her and Chewie.
I like that Wookiee.
I like that Wookiee.
Her and Chewie. But yeah, I think that's kind of, there's untapped potential there as well to use Maz a little bit more.
And she's just such a great actress anyway. I feel like she's like the it actress right now. Well, everybody, that's it for us here. We hope you enjoyed this hot take, Salty Socks episode 6. Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter coming soon, where we're going to start live tweeting some episodic films and all the things we love about the prequels.
That's right. Yeah, and so we'll look out for that. We'll post a link in the description when we set up the Twitter account. And this was just a quick video just to show, or just to talk about the recent casting announcement, the new Clone Wars animated series. We're excited about both of those. I think it's kind of some exciting news to re-energize the fan base. And I'm getting excited for episode 9, which I wasn't super excited about a couple months ago. So I'm excited to hear the news and looking forward to looking at some leaked photos from the set so I can dissect all the plot points and know what happens before we go into the theater. Psych, I hate that. I hate spoilers. No one spoil this in the comments.
Are you mocking me?
Okay, so we'll see you next time on the Salty Socks podcast. And until then, Joseph,
keep those socks salty.
Keep them salty, people.
That's right.
See ya.
Bye.